questions now. The first audience question is coming from RVCE student from Bangalore. His name is Sai. He's 23-year-old. Go ahead, Sai. You're against the motion, I'm told, so you're with the government, I presume, unless you have switched sides. By the way, may I just take a call of hands at this point of time? How many people are for the motion, as of this moment? We'll take a call at the end. How many people believe that governance is the reason? Or rather, who blame the government? Governance is the reason for India's economic slowdown. That's roughly... Gentlemen
95.
on the opposition benches, you have a job to do. You have 15 minutes to do it. So you must fight back, Sai.
Let's ignore the fact that clearance is not being done by the government and bureaucracy because the CAG is overreaching. They're really scared to take decisions because they fear being pulled up. But let's come down to certain issues of welfare. In each instance where there's an economic slowdown, when austerity measures have been taken, what has happened is the economy has slowed down further or the economic slowdown has not been stopped. India decided that despite the financial situation that we have, we are going to release a stimulus package. We are going to continue taking care of the people because if we take care of the people, they can be more productive. Tell me why India government is not being given enough credit for taking these steps despite numerous opposition from eminent personalities
Who'd like to take that?
yourselves.
Who from the Treasury bench would like to take that? Kiran Shah wants to take that? Go ahead, Kiran Shah.
The problem we are talking about is not about why we should not have welfare measures. We are saying that the delivery of welfare measures in India is not efficient. Every single welfare measure that we have in this country, very little is reaching the people who need it.
Well, good point. Even the finance minister himself conceded there were irregularities in the farm loan waiver, for example. So it's the implementation of the schemes. No counter questions. I'm allowing a second question.
In 2008, in the aftermath of the global economic crisis, we saw India as a legitimate and credible source for investment, right? And that's reflected by the fact that the dollar was just 38 rupees back then. Now, recently, with a recovery in the United States of America, greater employment figures, better growth figures, and the sort of QE that a lot of people have already spoken about in this debate, right? The United States has become a credible source for money, and now money has, capital has flown from India back to the States, right? We know this external factor is true, and I'm no proponent of the government, but I want to know what specific policies that this government has taken that cause the other side to believe that they have dampened investor confidence.
It's not the question of US becoming only attractive now. The question was, why did simultaneously India become unattractive?
Yes.
That is the question.
But
You see, these are the issues.
Okay.
The unattractiveness of India was building much before the attractiveness of USA was re-established.
Swapan Das Gupta, India got $37 billion FDI in 2009-10, which was higher than what we got in the entire 1990s, which was $15 billion.
Yes,
Let me tell you, foreign investment into India, and Kiran will agree with me, foreign investment into India is a matter of perception. And the way the opposition parties and the way the opposition parties sent a negative message by obstructing parliament, you created a downside opinion of India. That's the whole problem.
The opposition
Foreign
creates a
investors
downside.
don't come with
You
the
with all your
macroeconomic fundamentals.
advertisements, you with all your Bharat Nirman, you can't get over that.
Sanjay,
The opposition creates a downside.
Sanjay Jai,
Your dream team can't negate that.
May I
If
otherwise,
it's all the
exactly
criminals
what we are
opposition,
doing.
I'm getting up on
what
my
about
trend
your,
is getting
look at
positive.
the amount you've spent on just publicizing your achievements.
Why governance cannot function?
No.
One minute. I have been
Arnab,
thinking
my
for a
case
long
is-
time.
This
I have
no,
been thinking for a
Pawan,
long
what
time
you've
whether I'll be
established
compelled to do a
is
Meera
that
Kumar,
when
but I don't
people
want
take
to.
recourse to extraneous measures
See,
to
you can't
try
say
and
our best guy
justify
because they're already
something
sitting.
which we should be seriously concerned about, a national failure, a national inability to live up to our potential. That is what we are really debating. How we can overcome that.
May I comment
I
on
I can tell you you're sounding very pessimistic. It's not the case at all.
It's a comment on what
If there
Swapan
was
said.
nothing wrong with the retrospective tax proposal and the government did everything right. By the way, I'm mystified as to why Sanjay Jha, your clock stops 1 year into UPA 1. What happened in 2010? Was it the CWG scam perhaps and the downhill trend after that? Because if there was nothing wrong with the retrospective tax proposal, why did you scuttle it after the finance minister left his office? That's a question that you need to answer. I know you have no answer for that, so I'll give Pawan Verma his turn. Pawan Verma, you had your say. Pawan Verma is responding.
Now you see what
the chair
Arnab
is
does
now
to me
in
at
all
9
this
o'clock.
debate. I take back the control of this debate.
Arnab,
Go ahead.
Swapan raised an important point that this nation is in a state of crisis as far as governance is concerned, and we need to have a serious discussion on its causes. I put a thought to our audience today and to you. Is it a coincidence that the examples of better governance we've seen in India are from some states which also have a stable political majority. Whether it's Madhya Pradesh, whether it's Chhattisgarh, whether it's Bihar, whether it's Delhi, whether it's Gujarat, the leadership is always important. I concede it. But I am saying to you, for God's sake, let us be honest with ourselves. Otherwise, we'll have this debate 2 years later after the elections and debate exactly the same issues again.
I take your point. There are more than 500 million Indians who are growing at over 11%. That point is well taken. Next question from this side. We got 7 minutes on this debate. Make it brief.
One constant theme in your in whatever you have said is that stability leads to better governance, leads to a stronger economy. I have 2 questions. One is that Italy, since the Second World War, has had 54 different governments in 58 years, effectively giving an average of 1 year. And it's one of the 5 most industrialized nations in the world. So you can't blanketly put the blame on that. But secondly, if that is your thesis, that stability leads to better governance, leads to better economy, haven't you done a disservice to the people of Bihar by breaking up a stable coalition?
Let me say to you that political stability, which still exists in Bihar because the JDU is very close to a majority on its own without the BJP. But irrespective of which side of the political divide you are on, political stability is obviously not unrelated to what your ideological beliefs are. And therefore, to maintain stability artificially, even when you are convinced that continued alliance with people with whom you have genuine problems, I don't believe that leads to stability. Politics is about the ideological realm. Politics is about views and opinions. Okay. It's not about an artificially hothouse stability. I was not talking of that kind of stability. And secondly, about Italy. Italy is a far more developed economy, my young friend. Perhaps it can have a certain cushioning for perennial political instability. The challenges before India are such that if we continue to repeat the same model election after election, we are going to ask ourselves, where will governance come from?
Look at the young generation. Look at the youth. They draw that line and inference. And I like the way this debate is shaped up. From an attempt to look at it only statistically in terms of numbers to making it more real, I think I compliment the youth of the debate for drawing the debate back to where it matters. The youth have understood the link between governance and politics, and we must applaud them for it. So from my side to you, a big round of applause. Next question from the gentleman here.
Yeah, like Mr. Jha, he was talking about NREGA. Like I had been working with in rural areas. Like most of the time, whenever I see him, he's always on the TV debates. Sometimes he needs to go to ground zero to check what is happening with NREGA.
I have.
What is happening, like for a quick example, like a place like Bundelkhand, where people, they were traditional weavers from generation to generations. Now they have been forced to become like laborers. They have lost their craft because the government do not have that kind of policies which addresses that. India was a rich heritage, rich culture, but it's all getting lost. Secondly, the farmers, the marginal farmers, we do not have a robust policy. Again, they are again forced into becoming laborers.
You make a comment, it's been wrapped up. He's not going to agree with you, but I wouldn't let
more. So one more thing, like the politicians of today, they are lacking vision. They are only focusing towards next elections, not next generation.
Well, let me tell you, there are majority of the cases have been salutary, beneficial, and they have changed lives. Well, Manrega's impact, you'll have to spend much more time in Bundelkhand than you have.
Well, I think you'll also have to spend time reading the CAG report, which trashed the implementation of the Manrega. How many believe this motion is being carried through? That, in fact, you believe governance is the reason for India's economic problems? How many of you do believe that way? How many of you don't? Have any changed their point of view in the course of the debate? The motion has been carried. This has been a fantastic youth parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, and to the youth, thank you very much. Thank you very much for taking part in this youth parliament. Thank you. I'll see you in the next episode.